Some people look at successful people and say, that guy's an asshole. But what they're really saying is, I want to be him. Now, I'm not talking about being an asshole to be rude to people, to be mean, to be unfair, to take advantage of others. Never do that. Always carry yourself of the highest order. What I'm talking about is that you can't be moved by what people think. You have to live by your own rules. See, the masses are controlled. A large portion of people's motivations are what other people think. So they order their lives in accordance with the approval of others. And that's setting you up to be a slave. Okay? It'll make you a slave. You can predetermine your own outcome. And you'll find that when you don't care what people think, you'll have your detractors. There's always going to be someone who's not going to like you. Okay? No matter how nice. Oh, he thinks he's so nice. No matter how good you are. There are going to be those vultures out there. Those energy vampires. Okay? And they're set up to make you a slave. And so are institutions. They're set up to make you a slave. If you want to control any person or any outcome, all you need to do is retain the objective state. Never be moved by praise or by persecution. Now this is your vampire inoculation right here. This is your vampire inoculation. See, they're out there, and often what's working, what people are doing is intentions that are working through them. It's like Night of the Living Dead. When someone is possessed by a vampire, it's working through them. There's a spirit working through them. Remember expression? Being what you are? Okay, people are being what they are. There's a spirit working through them. And it will try to make you a slave. And there are vampires who will latch onto your energy and try to control you the way they are being controlled. It's set up that way. So this is your vampire inoculation. When you think of objective, when you think of being objective, object, if you're on top of a bike, you are objective of the bike. You're riding the bike. You're controlling it. Now, if you're laying down and all mangled up and the bicycle is on top of you, then you're subjective. You're a subject. Object, subject. So if you remain objective to all things, to the opinions of others, to anything, to praise when others praise you, remain objective to that so it doesn't go to your head. Very important. Remaining objective to persecution. When other people insult you, you know those guards who stand out of the Castle of London, what do they call them? Not the bobbies, you know, the guys with the big hats, and they stand there, and tourists will come up and poke fun at them and make faces at them, and no matter what happens, the guy remains rock solid. Now that's the moving meditation state. If you have that kind of discipline where you're not moved by praise or by persecution, by the carrot or by the stick, when you are not moved by either, then no one can manipulate you. No one can take advantage of you. But when you've been programmed to hearken to praise or persecution, just like someone who hearkens to a ringing phone. Does that make sense? They hear the phone ring, they hearken. And likewise, someone praises you, you hearken, or someone persecutes you, and you hearken. Do you see my point? You've been programmed to hearken. You've been programmed to respond in a certain way, to praise or persecution, to the carrot or the stick. So, when you remove your programming and become objective and have your satori, your moment of awakening, then you become the object rather than the subject. Think about it. You have a king and you have his subjects. So if you want to be the sovereign samurai king of your life, I'm going to give you some pointers now to do just that. First of all, let's talk about your carriage. How you carry yourself. Okay, we've talked about your thinking. Clear mind. How do you get that? Through mushin. Where's my pen? Thank you. Okay. Mushin. It also means a loose translation here would be mind, no mind. See, not being mindful, being effortless. That's what it comes down to. You shouldn't need to strain when you carry yourself. I'll tell you more about Mushin in a little bit, but it's a concept of having an empty mind. An empty mind. Does that make sense? Then you're not fixated on anything and the mind doesn't stop. When you become agitated or irritated, you are a subject. When you become enticed or tempted, you are a subject. If I pull out a Playboy in a centerfold and show you that, and you see that and get titillated, you're a subject. Like Pavlov's dog, the moment they ring the bell, the dog salivates for the meat. You are a subject. In order to be the object, in order to be the authority in your own mind and in your own thinking and in your own words and in your own action, you must be able to control the senses. Now you've heard, undoubtedly, if you've had any NLP, you've heard of the VACOG: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. Visual, the eye gate. Auditory, the ear gate. Kinesthetic is touch. Olfactory and gustatory, isn't that taste and smell? I don't remember. Who cares? Okay, who cares? Not the point. The point is that being able to control all of your senses. I want you to imagine right now, have you ever been to a lemon grove? Have you ever been to where they grow lemons, or tasted a fresh lemon and smelled it, or bitten in to a lemon and tasted that bitter, sweet taste? I bet right now that you can actually taste that and your mouth will begin to salivate. Think about it right now. If you close your eyes and just imagine a lemon and imagine what it tastes like, I'm sure as a kid you've bitten into one. Fresh, tangy, juicy. If you can do that, I want you to sit down right now and just close your eyes and do that. You're walking up to a lemon tree, or you're in the grocery store and you grab a nice shiny yellow lemon. You pick that thing up and you just bite into it. And the juice is running down your chin. And you can just taste that tangy, sweet, sour taste. Okay, if you can imagine that right now and get yourself to salivate just with your mind, that's a small example of mind control over your senses. Now you can do that in anything at all. You can do that. You can control yourself. You can control your sense realm by retaining the Mushin state. And I'll fully explain what this means just a little later. Okay, I don't want to give you vague esoteric terms. You know, in the martial arts, they say the Filipino word of kino mutai, biting. I like to say biting, okay? Kino mutai is biting. I don't need fancy esoteric terms. But when you understand what this is, I don't think there is an exact English word for it. Now, I can use many, many words to describe this one word, this one concept of Mushin, the mind, no mind. And then moving into Zanshin. Zanshin, Z-A-N-S-H-I-N, is a state so alert that you dominate. I'll give you a small example of Zanshin right now. Can you imagine a dead deer out in the middle of a field in the forest? And wolves, a pack of wolves, fighting over that deer. And the biggest wolf comes in, and he bites a few and chases the others off. And they all step back. And that wolf, the big wolf, has had the victory. And he grabs that deer and he's carrying it off. But even as he's carrying it off, he retains his aware state. Okay? He's letting them all know. It's like not sheathing your sword. You go into the battlefield and you behead your opponents. And then even though you beheaded them, you maintain that alert vigilance. And that is a state. Zanshin is a state. I mean, we talk about the states of fear, a state of lust. In NLP, and Tony Robbins talks about state management. And I love Tony Robbins. Every teacher, every coach has their strengths and has their weaknesses. No one has all the answers. And that's why we study from so many different resources. My big martial arts school, years ago, I would allow students from other schools to come and train with me. I had no insecurity on that whatsoever. I encouraged them to go out. Many of my teachers did too. They said, go take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, go take Thai boxing, go take Western boxing, mix it up, get out there and learn. And I saw one of my students a while back, and I said, would you like to come down and spar? It's been so long. And he said, well, I really can't. And my new teacher, I don't want to spoil things with him. And he said not to study with anybody else, and we can't do that. Okay? And I thought to myself, gee, that's very insecure. I mean, I understand the concept of loyalty, but as a teacher, I want my student to learn as much as possible. That's more important to me than retaining those fees and his subjection and loyalty. Does that make sense? Different for other people. But Mushin is a state. Zanshin is a state. Now, if you still don't know what these mean, we'll get to it shortly, but consider these other states. You have a state of fear and anger. Now, anger is the easiest state to get into, isn't it? Fuck you! See? Damn it, I'm pissed! See how easy anger is? That's the easiest one. In any acting class, they'll tell you that. We have a state of sorrow. Being sad, right? This is another one. Some people can burst into tears on command. They have a natural ability to do that. I don't. Fear. Fear is very common, and fear is the most subtle. Fear is a root of most problems and most diminished results in life. It's unknown. It's like a smell or a smoke. You can't really see it, you can't sense it, but it's there. This is the most deceptive of all the states. The state of envy. Envy. You know, I could never be jealous of someone. Never. I wasn't able to, even if I tried. If someone was more successful than me, than making more money than me, than getting what I wanted or winning the race, it never made me envy. It always made me happy for them. It always made me think, what can I learn? It always made me feel like, wow, if they can do it, then I can do it too. Envy is a cancer. And if you're envious of anyone, you are abdicating your own ability, your own responsibility. The beautiful thing about self-responsibility is that if it's up to me, then I can do it. If it's going to be, it's up to me. But if it's up to them, if you can blame someone for your failure, if you can blame someone, blame your parents, blame your boss, blame your wife, your girlfriend, blame anyone, then what you do is you take this gift that you have in life to do anything and you give that to them. You put it in their back pocket and they don't even know that they have it. You're giving your power away if you envy. Never envy. Always be inspired. When someone succeeds, even if it's someone I'm competing with, I get inspired. Wow, that's really great. I'll try better next. That's awesome. How did you do that? And years ago, I had someone come into my karate studio one night. And I was doing a private with a couple other guys. And this guy had called and I invited him to come down. And he was scary. He had one eye and lots of scars. And we have these long tie bags. We had like 6 of them in there, big heavy tie bags, 100-pound bags. And he had all of them just swinging all over. And he was running up the side of the wall, literally. I mean, it was the most impressive and scary thing that you ever saw. I mean, it was incredible. Never heard of this guy. He's a nobody, no name, doesn't have a career in the martial arts. But I have never seen anything like that. It was frightening in a beautiful way. Now, the other guys, you're not going to let him come here, are you? You're not going to let him be part of the school, are you? They were scared. So after the class, when the guys had left, I said to this guy, I said, listen, you're going to scare my students away. But you know what? Will you teach me what you know? Will you come here late at night, after my class is over and everyone's gone, and teach me what you know? Now, I could have said, we don't want you here. Pride. I have black belts on my wall. My system is better than yours. I saw something I could learn from this guy. It was just that simple. He became my teacher. He became my friend. He became my brother. And I learned so much just because I didn't have any pride. And you know what? Didn't even charge me a cent. And if he had said, yes, it's $200 a night, I would have paid him. $500, whatever it was. I wanted that knowledge. I still can't describe it. Just exactly what it is. I did promise, too, that many of the things he showed me I would never teach. That was all he asked. And I tell you this story to show you about pride and envy. Now, I could have said, you embarrass me in front of my students, and we don't want that, and this and that. A lot of teachers are that way. Not me. I wanted to learn from him. Now, envy is a state. Fear, anger, sorrow, envy, elation, joy, right? Happiness, emotional states, all of these states. So when we talk about state management, let me ask you this. In the Western world, why aren't these states? You might call it a state of awareness, but Zanshin is much deeper than a state of awareness. Zanshin is so alert that you dominate. It's a spiritual state. The same thing with Mushin, with the mind, no mind. Now, this concept would be so highly valuable in our society today. If Mushin were known and taught in our society, you wouldn't have a bunch of sheeple who could be controlled at will. Remember, we said that when you understand programming, when you understand that, you can, hypnotic states are already there. You can change yourself and you can control others at will. The mechanism is already in place. People are programmed to respond like Pavlov's dog. They ring the bell and they salivate. And you can go in and ring the bell, and I'll show you. Later in these DVDs, I will show you exactly how to do that to get any response, and we'll give you actual language patterns to do that. Do not take advantage unfairly of other people. Your integrity prevents you from doing so. Now, getting back to this, I'm going to tell you right now that you need to be the samurai king. Does that sound cheesy? Well, if I said, master yourself, haven't you heard that a million times? Haven't you heard that a million? Master yourself. You are the master of your own destiny. We hear these things so much that they just become vague, empty platitudes, like going into Blockbuster. Hi, how are you, sir? Have a great day. How are you? Fine, thank you. It all means nothing, doesn't it? So when we say you are the master of your mind, you're the master of your own life, it's so vague it really means nothing at this point. So we need a new terminology, we need a new language, and we need a new way of thinking. That's going to make the change inside, so we have a new way of acting, a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new code of conduct.